Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Friday's edition of Real Talk with Keith Smith. I've got a pretty exciting, at least to me anyway, panel sitting in front of me, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this conversation as well. We're going to talk to three real estate rock stars to talk about things from the Hispanic community's perspective in the Charlottesville region, and we're going to talk also a little bit about the market until itself from a millennial's perspective, which is not me, by the way. That's those folks. And I don't know, Candice. I believe you're a millennial, but according to the chart that I have, I'm not the guy that's the millennial. I can tell you that much. But we're particularly going to kick off talking about these fine folks help bring an organization to town, and I'm going to let them tell the story. But it's the National. I'm going to screw this up, guys. The National Association of, National Regional, oh God, I've screwed it up. Candice, save me. Jump in, tell me about your, and tell me how, NARAP, National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. Did I do that?
You got it.
Yep, you got it.
Okay, I'm going to take another sip of my coffee. That might get me a little bit better. Candice, tell us who you are, who you're with, how many years you've been in the business, and what's your role with NARAP?
Absolutely. Keith, thank you so much for having me on the show and having us on the show. Always excited, and if anybody knows me, obviously I love to talk, and especially talk about real estate and what's happening in the Charlottesville area and surrounding counties. So NARAP is this amazing organization that is starting. So we're getting it off the ground, and so National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals.
I'm going to write that down, Candice. So I get this right.
So the Central Virginia chapter is in its groundbreaking phase right now, and so I'm the incoming director for events, which means we have a lot of stuff to do, and we still have some opportunities for sponsors. So if you're in or around or talk to or deal with anybody buying a home or interested in buying a home, and you own your own business or you work for a company that you think would benefit, give us a call, give Keith a call, reach out, because we do still have a few opportunities left for sponsorship this year, and always looking for it. But back to me, I guess. I am Candice Linde, owner of Buy and Sell CVille, Team Realtors with RE/MAX Realty Specialist. Very long story short, I've been doing construction and renovations and involved with the construction and home buying process my whole life. Professionally, I've been a realtor for almost 13 years now, about 12 and a half. And I love it. I love helping people. I love talking about real estate and construction and improvements and whatever I can do to help people with this dream of home ownership and getting to the goals that they want to achieve in their own families and their own lives.
Well done. Virgil, you're up next, sir.
Thank you, Keith, and thank you guys for inviting us over here today. Little background from me. I've been in the real estate industry for 4 years, started property management down in Miami, and then my wife got accepted into UVA, and she pulled me with her, and we ended up in Charlottesville. And what I quickly came to realize is that the Hispanic population I grew up around was not around as much here as in Miami. So I kind of missed that, and I realized I had a unique opportunity coming from Miami and being Hispanic to tap into that community and see if there's a way I could help them. Since I got here almost, I've been working at Story House Real Estate and specializing mostly helping buyers look for homes. And I had the pleasure about a year in or so to meet Anna and to meet another fellow colleague, Ricardo, who's not here today, who's a lender at UVA. Shout out to Ricardo. And they were sharing with me their mission to help the Hispanic community as well. So when they shared that with me, I was super excited to kind of help them out and join along and see how I can be of help.
So Virgil, you come from Miami. You only been here, what, a couple of years?
A couple of years.
So tell me, what's the difference? How I mean, the food's got to be different, right?
The food is different. The food is.
I know as a New Yorker, I'm there too, right? I get it.
The food's a little different, but it's great. It's the thing I've loved the most about it here is the change of space is smaller.
Sure.
It's slower. You're more present with everything. And Miami is a lot. It's a big city. It's hustle and bustle all the time. So I've enjoyed the change of pace. But the sad part about it is I miss my family. That's the.
So most of your family's in Miami?
Everybody. Everybody's in Miami. And from my wife's family's in Miami as well. So that's the part that we miss the most. And being Hispanic, the stereotype that we are all a family is very accurate. And that's what we miss. But city itself, I've come to love Charlottesville. And the more I've gotten involved with professionals in Charlottesville in the industry and the people I've been able to help, draws me even closer to the city and to the community.
So Virgil, I'm half Italian and half Irish, right?
Okay.
And we have the same thing. And I have 13 nieces and nephews that live here and all this stuff, and we get together on a regular basis, probably every other Sunday. Okay. So you're welcome to come anytime. If you ever want to need that fix, that large family fix, and then you'll probably never come on the show again after that. Anna, you're up next. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here again. I am Anna Antigua. I'm the incoming chapter president for NARUP Central Virginia. I've been in real estate since 2019 with Keller Williams right now, but my passion started back in 2017 when I was looking for a house myself, and I saw that there was kind of a disconnect in our community, helping people like me, bilingual Hispanics, understand the process of buying. And that kind of launched me forward to find out more and become a real estate agent myself. And I'm so happy to be here.
So, CAR and NAR does a really great job of this, but CAR, for whatever reasons, we really don't track demographics very well in our sales data, right? We can look at number of units sold and price and where and square footage, but we don't really have a great sense of what the Hispanic community really is in this marketplace. Now, nationally, because if you can pull it from the 2003 NAR Buyers and Generation Report, nationally, about 8%, right? By the way, in 2 years, since 2019, that's jumped from 6 to 8%, so we're trending up. So just jump in, guys. Tell us about the Hispanic real estate community, particularly from the buyer side. What does it look like in this area? How can we help? How can NARA help? And we'll just have a roundtable discussion about it. Whoever wants to jump in, jump in.
NARUP is an organization that is all about advancing sustainable Hispanic homeownership. And I feel like it's a very important mission, especially in our area, because the trending that you're seeing is due to the population growth for Hispanics. We're very much growing, and we're involved, especially, we're leading, I was reading that we're leading in the workforce nationally. In our area, or at least my experience that I've been seeing, is that there's a disconnect, there's a huge gap between getting a Hispanic community the resources that they need to be able to accomplish homeownership. And the way that NARUP helps to close that gap is by educating real estate professionals so that they can in turn educate the community.
You're going to start with Smith to recite what it means. So we're going to start there with Keith be able to actually describe what NARUP is.
Okay, so so NARUP again. So NARUP again is advancing Hispanic, sustainable Hispanic homeownership, and in turn also advancing small businesses as well.
So Virgil, you're on the buy side typically, right? It sounds like you're a typical buyer's agent, so you're helping everybody, but we're focusing on the Hispanic. So what's the challenges? What do you need to overcome with the typical buyer? I think off area we're talking about some tax or immigration statuses. So let's talk a little bit about that.
The immigration issue is obviously a big one on a national level, but this goes kind of beyond that a little bit, right? So a lot of the Hispanic community arrived to the United States 20 plus years ago, and they've been living here for a very long time, working. They have a driver's license, and they don't have a social security number, but they have what they call a tax ID number, right? Why do they have a tax ID number?
Because they pay taxes.
Because they pay taxes, right? So that means that the IRS knows that they're here. The state knows that they're here because they have a driver's license. So are they illegal anymore? I don't know. I mean, if you pay taxes for 20 years, I feel like you're pretty invested in the country. But because they don't have a social security number, when they go to a
But
bank,
how do you navigate a sale now, right? How do you navigate that with a buyer that may fit that circumstances to Scott Morris, right?
Sure.
Of Ross Mortgage. How do you
this
take those
is
next
where
steps?
the problem is, right? So a person with a social security number goes into a bank today, and they most likely will qualify for a regular conventional product, right? So you can get a 0% USDA loan, a 3.5% FHA loan, a 3% conventional loan, and so forth, right? You get a person without a social security number, but an ITIN number, they won't be able to qualify for those same programs. There are some banks that will lend money, but they'll ask for a 20%, even 25% down payment at times with a extremely high interest rate, right? So when the interest rate, I think, were like at 5%, they were charging about 12% to get these mortgages.
Sounds a bit predatory.
So that is like a clear roadblock to people that have been part of this community for a very long time, that have been paying taxes, that have been working, that have kids that go to school here, that, and they can't get a house. Not that they can't get a house. I mean, if they can afford the 12% interest rate and 25% down, sure. But why can't they be offered the same programs when they pay taxes just like everybody else?
Right. And these programs are, in some places, when I first started looking, I joke, I called every state and try and figure out, hey, how did you get the 5% now, which, by the way, UVA Credit Union now has an ITIN program,
Yep.
5% down, and a true zero credit
Yep.
score, because that's another issue in our community. We don't use credit. We're scared of credit cards, and we just keep everything cash under the mattress.
And it's a lack of education and information, which is what Anna was telling me a little bit before we went live.
Right. So having these conversations, like in working with Ricardo, for example, and saying, hey, Ricardo, how can we bring awareness to these credit unions and banks? Like, what do we need to do to have all the legal stuff sorted out so that we can have better programs for our community?
So the challenge is, and Candice, jump in here, the challenge is pretty much multiplied by many times factors, because we've been talking about this forever. Inventory is just non-existent. Price points are regardless of which report you look at, are climbing, right? And then you have this struggle. So Candice, how does the kitchen table conversation happen with a Hispanic buyer and help them navigate? They talk about what that conversation looks like.
Yeah, it's really interesting as Anna and Virgil are talking about it. Anna and I have been working in real estate for years now together, and I remember in the beginning, we had this whole demographic of clientele that were interested but nervous because they had either been taken advantage of. Keith had a great word, predatory. A lot of people that I talk with in the Latino community or non-English first language speaking community in general are either taken advantage of in the past, and then they're very
hesitant.
Very hesitant to proceed or move forward or to trust anyone. And having stashing, working for tips, especially I come from the restaurant industry for, my first career before real estate, and, working for tips and having cash, getting, family money or things like that, and having it stashed under the bed, they think, oh, well, we have all this money and we should be able to qualify. So having the educated realtors talk with people and having the public generally understand that just because you have cash, it needs to be seasoned. A lender or a financial institution is not going to just accept a shoebox of, $20 bills. I would love that to happen because I come from that industry primarily beforehand.
I could give you my address if anybody wants to get
if anyone has extra. But yeah, so being able to trust that there are options out there and truthful individuals that will actually assist you through the process. And the best thing of all too, especially working for buyers, you don't pay the realtor. A lot of the clients that we had in the beginning, Anna, like she said, she was going across state lines, calling everybody, working with all different lenders and all different people across the board to try to find these programs for the ITIN, the International Tax ID numbers, where people were paying taxes, had children born in the United States and going to schools. They were paying for the parks and the recreation and paying into this country and this community, and still not having the ability to get a loan that was of the same standard that everybody else with a social security number had the option for. So she had done a lot of research, and we had successfully closed a number of people, and the word started getting out. So again, word of mouth, sharing within the community as to who to call and where to go and what options are available. Ricardo with UVA Credit Union, kudos to him too, because I remember when he came on, we met with him and we were telling him and telling Matt Switanos and telling the people within the lending communities this need was there.
Yeah.
So NARAP is national. The Central Virginia chapter is just getting started now because we have such a massive demographic of people that we can help. So NARAP National, statistically speaking, actually, since 2013, the Latino population in home ownership has gone up 138%, versus nationally other demographics, it's less than 40%.
Well,
It's
clearly,
huge.
I crunch in national data, local data. I'm a bit of a data geek on that stuff. Look, at the end of the day, there's 4 big buyer profiles going on right now. One of them looks like me, which is a boomer, right? And second is the millennial, and the Zs are there big time on that end of it. I think together that's 140 million people that are in that category. We're only about 70, and every couple of years we get less and less and less because we're, aging out. And then there's the Hispanic community, right? These are the big buyer profiles. So when you start getting folks that are millennials and Hispanics and trying to buy, I'm just trying to go back to great. We've NARAP, we've got a lender, we've got a program. What the heck are they going to buy?
Right.
First of all, where the heck they're going to go? And I'm looking at another number just to throw it up for a conversation. The multi-generational home is up 14% last year, according to NAR. My experience has been that's a place where a lot of my Hispanic clients are going to. So you guys want
The big question on what they're going to buy, I think, not only applies to the Hispanic community, but to everyone. I feel like everyone's feeling like, what the heck are we going to buy? Because there's no houses, not just for the Hispanic community, for everyone. But the issue is, like, you can't leave a community out of trying to, like, buy whatever's available.
I agree, 100%.
My experience too has been what you were saying. If my clients are always like, I need land, lots of land, and they're actually more
Hispanic in particular.
Hispanic,
okay,
and they're more willing to sacrifice more. They're willing to.
Explain that.
So if they were living in 2 apartments, now they can squish into a smaller home to be able to get a home. They see the value in that. Also, the other thing that I struggle with is they want to pay it cash and they want to pay it right away. They don't like the concept of credit. And if they can't find something, they're like, okay, Anna, find me some land. Then let me buy a piece of land. And
what's harder to buy than a house right now?
Land.
Right, Candice? I mean, you come from the construction background. Everybody knows that I do. I mean, Jerry did a great job. There's only like 2 lots available in Albemarle County right now that you could buy and build something on.
Crazy.
So that's a difficult conversation because that's harder than to find a house or a condo.
Yeah.
Right.
So Virgil, it's been my experience with the Hispanic community. They really understand generational wealth better than, everybody does, but they really have a good bead on it, to Anna's point.
Yeah.
So is that a conversation you guys have at the kitchen table with the Hispanic thing, that they're looking to grow generational wealth for their family and stuff like that? Talk about that.
I mean, a lot of my clients have either been renting for a very long time or bought a trailer many years ago and have been just paying a lot on the trailer and just been living on the trailer for a long time. But they understand their kids were born here and their kids go to school here. And they're saying, okay, where are my kids going to live? How am I going to help How am I going to retire? Like all these questions are starting to come up, and they're starting to think more seriously about it. I don't know if because like information is now more easily shared through the internet and everything than ever before. But everybody's being aware that they can be better off than where they are, but they don't know how to get there, and they're scared, right? Because they don't know. They're not educated. They came here to work. They didn't came here to learn
Work,
anything.
save money,
and for their families, and give money back to their kids.
Give money back to their kids, and live the quote-unquote American dream.
Right. And
That's what we see too. So across the board, like we said, available options for home ownership are down, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what price point. I've got multi-million-dollar clients looking for land to build something, and it's just not available. So no matter what scale you're looking at, obviously having an equal playing field with a 5% down payment, not 25% down, and a standard interest rate, if it's 6 or 7% versus 15%, doubling. So getting that on a better equal playing field is the first goal.
Fairly,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
They can compete. They can compete fairly.
And if they lose to an offer, well, they lose like everybody else. How many other people do we have?
So how do they usually take the loss, right? That's an interesting question for myself. Do they take it? Do they go, okay, they stay in the game? Do they give up easily?
I feel like my clients are really resilient compared to somebody who can have like an FHA or a conventional.
Yeah.
And they want to get the property. Like they're willing to sacrifice more.
Yeah.
They're very inspirational to me actually, because as the market, people want to wait because they see interest rates rising. And I had clients who didn't. They're like, it's okay, Anna, how much is it? We're going to do it. We can do it. And now those people are in a better position.
Yeah.
Actually have rates that people now who have FHA, how it's at 7%. I had clients who took the opportunity and they have it at a 7% I-10. Now, I-10 has doubled, but before, what I mean?
But once they're in, they can potentially refinance. I say this all the time. My first house that we bought, we paid 18% and refinanced it a bunch of times. I do want to get back to NARAP.
Yeah.
And I do want to get back to this sponsorship question, right?
Yeah.
So, Virgil, I'm going to ask you this question, and I'll let you pick it off. Give me your 2-minute, 1-minute elevator speech why I should donate to NARAP. And by the way, I've got a text here for somebody who wants to donate, so make it good so we can get some more. We can get some more money.
So before
no pressure.
Before saying like why donate, you got to understand what NARAP, what we're trying to do with NARAP here, right? So it's an association catered to help Hispanic professionals or any professionals that wants to get involved with the Hispanic community and the Hispanic community itself. If you know the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors, you know that it's an amazing organization that helps realtors and lenders with education, resources, and as a result, they're able to really provide for this community very, very well, in my opinion. And I think NARAP is the association we need here to do the same, but more catered to the Hispanic community. Why? Because when I got here, I didn't know a single Hispanic person, and we were all scattered. The professionals and the community itself. Everybody's kind of trying to do help in their own way and their own thing. And I feel like we can help each other more together, right? So with Anna, with Ricardo, with Candice, with Keith, we've come together and said, okay, let's start this. And right now we're in this orientation phase to start this chapter that does not exist here, right? We're starting something completely new that can have a long-lasting impact on the community. Because when all these Hispanic community have kids and they want to enter the real estate industry, guess what? NARAP can be there to orientate them, to educate them.
But it's more than that, Virgil, right? I mean, I may get myself into a little bit of trouble here, and navigate me if I do. Look, the reality of it is, who's helping us? Who's serving us, right? Who's running the service community right now? It's the Hispanic community. The Hispanic, I come from a construction perspective, right? Most of our subcontractors, even way back when I got out at the time of Great Unpleasantness, they were all Hispanic. They showed up at sunrise, went down at sunset. They were just unbelievable to help us get forward. So if we can't help the people who serve us, right? Find a place to live. It was one of my things that I've been quoted. I said, one of the great things about what we do, one of our whys is that we get to help people with one of the one requirements for a trip around the sun, right? It's clothing, food, and shelter, right? So if we can't help the people who serve us with shelter, and that's what this donation, that's what this sponsorship is going to do. I mean, I needed to jump in. Please,
the sponsorship money, it's going to help us open this chapter. We can't, the National Association, or the National Association of Hispanic Professionals, NARIP itself, puts goals in front of us. Like we need to meet certain goals to start this chapter and to make this a real thing. And that's why we need help. We need help from anybody that's willing to help sponsor us, because we need to get this started, because the community needs our help. And the professionals in the community need our help. And we need to work together in this. And that's why we're asking for help, because I think it's a big deal. It's never existed here. And by sponsoring us now, you can be one of the first. Like that's a big deal as well. Like if you see the potential here.
So how do I help? Candice, how do I sponsor?
So,
by the way, I left my checkbook home. But how do I sponsor?
So sponsorship is really easy. Michelle is there. We have an email address. Maybe we can pop out there. But reaching out and letting any of us know, and we'll get you the form. Just fill out how much you want to sponsor, the name of your company, entity, or your name, and tell us how much you want to sponsor. You'll get in with logos and information, constant. Our world is bombarded with social media presence. However, quality, effective social media presence in front of all of this huge community and demographic. So not only do you as a business owner get your name out there through NARAP and NARAP National in this NARAP Virginia chapter, you also get to share what you're doing. I know like at Colonial Auto Service, for example, they have who they sponsor all the time. Charlottesville Settlement Company, they sponsor a lot of really worthwhile organizations. There are so many ways to spread the word on what we're doing because we are helping people. One of the biggest things, talking about what Keith had said earlier at the kitchen table, one of the biggest challenges I see with most people who, a lot of my friends and family and close relatives are Latino. They're from Mexico, they're from El Salvador, they're from Dominican Republic, and they come to me and they go, oh, well, we had this opportunity, we bought this house and we assumed a loan, or we got owner financing or something 10 years ago. Well, now we want to sell and buy something different. What do we do? Well, if the home is in disrepair, or I have one person in particular, a retired person who has no debt on their home, but it is in so much disrepair, they have this number in their mind that they have to get. I said, well, why do you feel that? Well, because I don't want debt. Well, why don't you want debt? Why don't you live your best life and enjoy your day-to-day and have that cash or have that financial ability to pay for when your HVAC system goes down, to pay for the roof that needs repaired, and really maintain and afford the ability to live on the day-to-day. So the talking at the kitchen table about the entities and the organizations that are available is really valid. Another thing too, just because you don't have a social security number doesn't mean you can't start your own business. Right. A lot of my friends and clients in the Latino community have their own businesses. So they're paying business tax, they're paying personal tax, they're paying rent, they're paying into the school systems, and they're having this community and growth of family. Well, come join in with NARAP and learn and educate yourself, your friends, and your family about how you can now take this next step. You own a business, or you are able to assist people within the community because you offer this service. Well, let us offer you a service too, and let us get your business name out there.
So
it's a win-win.
I'm going to give some good news here in a second, but so I teach a little certificate class at Piedmont Community College to contractors that kind of want to go from a truck to an actual business, and I help them do that. Every small little class that I do is always Hispanic, full of Hispanic. That's who's there. But Virgil, your little elevator pitch worked. Johnny Ornalis of El Mariachi is going to reach out to you guys and is going to sponsor. So look, the power of social media used for the good, not for the of the bad is going to get you guys
Well, we really thank you. We
Yes,
really,
thank you.
really
and I may get a margarita out of it. We'll see.
The cliche,
amazing.
it's the cliche saying of it takes a village. And
Yeah.
by partnering with us and helping us and sponsoring us, you are supporting a group of diverse professionals who are connected to growing and growth.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
So,
thank you.
So, pivoting kind of away from that back to the general market overall, right? Right, we're all in that space, right? We're here to talk about the Hispanic community primarily today, but for helping folks across the board. We all got a little bit of different experience. I've got 3.5 decades, and we kind of go from a couple of years to that point. So, from your perspective, I've coined this term called O-shift, right? So the market is O-shifting. Well, the market's always O-shifting, right? It just seems to be shifting a little bit heavily right now. But from your personal businesses, so how's it looking for you? Are you way down? How do these, again, to focus on these kitchen table conversations, how's that going for everybody? We're doing good, we're not.
It's interesting because, the Q2 report for our Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors just came out, and overwhelmingly, all our 6 surrounding counties basically are down in number of sales. I mean, we have, the number of sales are down 17% in Charlottesville.
So if you can pull down Real Talk with Keith Smith, you get an opportunity. I've got reports. To make a long story short, we're at 2016 volume. Right, so we are 2023 at this volume of units sold, but prices are going up. So I'll let you finish your train of thought.
Oh yeah, no. So ultimately, I think that people being aware that yes, there's low inventory. That does not mean that sellers are getting to just price wherever and not have the right condition. I always, in my business, I'm like a broken record. It's priced properly for the location and the condition, because people will not buy if there are things that have to be done that they don't feel of value. So whenever you're looking to sell your home or market your home for sale, be realistic with it. If something is some repair that's needed is going to cost $500, assume that buyer is going to want $1,500 for that same repair, because why should they have to do it if you don't do it? So the reality of the lower sales numbers overall and a little bit higher sale volume median price, but not really for the number that we have in closed transactions, and looking at properties that have come back on the market. So if you're looking to sell or market your home, make sure that you've done it right. Look at what the pre-inspection items are. Shout out to inspectors too, and all the, talking about helping the community and taking the village, getting the plumber out there, getting the painters out there, getting the contractors out there to fix and or repair the things that are going to come up anyway. It's for your better. And then again, we get to help this community.
Yeah, just because there's low inventory and the market is hot, doesn't mean you can price the house or whatever you want. It's not going to sell.
Price always matters, my friend.
Yeah.
I've stayed busy, but we don't have inventory.
Yeah.
Well, correct, right? So
I'm
there's
getting all the calls.
Yeah, and it was interesting because to me, been doing this since '87, and this is, I call from the beginning of COVID to the kind of the beginning of 2022, depending on the month, I call it the unicorn years or the unicorn time in real estate, because it was just a real unicorn. That is never that type of interest rates and so forth and so on is never going to happen again. But this feels like, to me, kind of like a 2016 market, right? It's going to take a little bit more. The difference is inventory was way higher than it is at this point. So to your point, Candice, and please other folks jump in, Yonna and I going out to San Diego next week. We do a housing conference every year, and I'm doing a little bit of speaking. And I'm talking about what I call the 6 requirements for the real estate market. And you kind of touched on some of them. Location is always the case. Price, features, conditions, the timing, right? What's the right timing? And some of our fellow real estate agents don't like when I say this, but who's on the other side matters more now than ever before, right? Having a professional on the other side makes a transaction happen. And it requires all these 6 things to make it happen on that end of it. You got any thoughts on that, Virgil? You're looking at me like I just crossed the line or something.
No, you're not crossing any lines. I agree with that 100%. And my business is kind of saying I've been staying really, really busy, but there's no inventory. So I have a lot of buyers.
So define busy. Define busy.
Busy, I get a lot of phone calls.
Yeah, good.
We're meeting with a lot of lenders. We're crashing numbers. People want to buy, even with the rates the way they are. They're like, yeah, but I still want a home. I feel like there's basic needs. Some people are either getting divorced, need a smaller home, or they're moving here. Their kids are moving here for school. They want to have an investment property. People still want to buy, but there's no houses to buy, and it's the struggle that we're all feeling. But I mean, it can't last forever.
Yeah.
And speaking to Keith's comment as well, having a professional realtor on the other side of the transaction just makes a world of difference. I'm fortunate to be helping a multi-generational family acquire a home. They came to the country about 10 years ago and have businesses.
Is that the one that we may be working? That may be the one we're working on. Like I said, a professional on the other side.
Exactly, and it just makes a world of difference to know, understand, respect, and trust that who you're talking to on the other side of the transaction is really doing what they're doing.
You're talking to Yonna.
Well, you're a better half, as you would
better
say.
7/8. Better 7/8. Let's get it. Let's get the math right.
Yeah.
Let's get the math right on that.
Yeah.
So to everybody's point, I'm looking. So I do a 7-day for the car footprint going back. 93 homes closed in the last 7 days. That means 93 people at some point in time put a contract in, went through the process, right, maybe 30, 45 days ago, and closed in the last 7 days. That's at 7%. So people are out there doing it, right? It can be done. You need the trusted advisor to help you navigate this. And that's where that number 6 is so important. You really need trusted advisors on both sides to help navigate that. But Virgil, so how are you keeping the people in the game? How are you trying to have this conversation with your awesome good looks and your smart and you're super smart? How do you keep Keith in the game? Where I want to give up. How do you do that? What is that conversation?
They don't want to give up.
Really?
Yeah.
So none of your clients hit a saturation point? Is this specific to the Hispanic?
Maybe 1 or 2. I mean, a good portion of the Hispanic people, they don't give up. They're like, we'll just keep looking until the right thing.
I get that, but let's talk about somebody who's not Hispanic.
But somebody who's not Hispanic, they're kind of in the same. A lot of them are not in a rush, and the ones that are willing to sacrifice a little bit more and take a little bit more risk to make it happen. I feel like the ones that have to move here, are moving here for work or just need to buy something now, they'll take it, whatever's on the table, they'll figure it out. And the other half is just not in a hurry and is just willing to wait for whatever, because they understand how valuable it is to buy a home. And the point I made to this client the other day, it's houses right now are rare. When something is rare, it has value. And it will hold its value, and the value of it will grow, because guess what? Not a lot of people have it. So yeah, if you have to pay a little bit more for it, above asking price, even if you have to get an interest rate a little higher right now, you're going to get something that nobody else is able to get. So it's worth getting it. So even in this hard market, because there's not a lot of it. In 2008, it was the complete opposite. You were buying stuff that everybody had, and there was extra to go around.
Don't remind me of that, okay?
Yeah. But here it's the other way around. Nobody has it. Everybody's looking for it. So if you can get your hands on it, even if you pay a little bit more for it, you're in a good spot for a while. I mean, how long do you think it's going to take for inventory to go back to what it was?
Well, that was the question I was going to. I've on record have said I think this is 5 to 10 years out.
I'm with you. That's what I've been telling people. So if you think if you buy something now,
why are you saying that, Virgil?
Because I saw the data before COVID, and the numbers were very, very different than what they are now. Like more than doubly different in inventory level. Like for us to go back, there has to be an explosion of inventory, right? For there to be an explosion of inventory, you either have to build a lot fast, which is really hard to do.
Ain't gonna happen,
right? Especially here, right? Or there has to be an enormous amount of foreclosures, right? Everyone's going to foreclose.
And why won't that happen?
Well, who's going to foreclose on their 2%, 3% mortgage? Who's gonna want to stop paying that?
I mean, people that could happen, right? God forbid they lose jobs.
Sure,
and stuff
but
like that.
even like.
But Candice, why won't that happen? What if most people have more now than they've had back in 2008?
Well, there's hopefully more equity. Yeah. Again, if you maintain your home, you'll grow in equity and you'll be able to utilize that value. We also saw, with low inventory, there are a lot of people, again, like a few years ago, taking out, refinancing. Even if interest rates are at 7%, if they were at 7 or 8 or 10 before, and now they can pull out $200,000 out of their, $500,000 now priced home and redo a sunroom, add a garage, add a basement, finish it, add a bathroom, do something like that. Right. They have this opportunity to do it instead of moving. So there's another thing too, especially with the Latino community and the Hispanic community, the resilience I see is, a lot of my clients have contacts. Oh, we need to, we are looking at this home that's outdated. It's priced well. We love the location, but it's totally outdated. Well, I've got someone that can do the floor. I got someone that can paint.
Overlook features and conditions very quickly because they understand location and they understand price and go, look, I've got the resources to do this. If I had $1,000 every time I get a phone call about, hey, do you know a plumber or electrician?
Yeah.
This island Yonna and I go to down in the Caribbean, we would own, right? It's great. But to the primary reason of purchasing, which is an interesting stat, turn it to the millennial and the Z. Right, desire to own a home. This is per 223 NAR buyer and sellers generation tool. 47% of the 24 to 32 are desiring to own. So that's that Z. That's that Z age, and I can't even comprehend that age. But that Z age. The second one, highest one, is the 33 to 42 mark, which is the millennial end of it, and that's at 37. When you get to my age, I dropped to about 7. So, on that end of it. So the desire to own is there. I would love to know what the desire to own percentage is from the Hispanic perspective, because they don't break it down that way. But look, I'm inventory. I've been on the record to say it. I'm going to continue to say it. We're not going to build our way out of this. It's going to be a 5 to 10 years. It's going to require a lot of trusted professionals and advisors to navigate it. But Candice and Anna, jump in. Why do you think it's going to take that long from your perspective to get that far?
Well, if you look at the building permits pulled by county and by location or municipality, and also looking at the municipalities that are open to commercial and residential growth, there's a reason Waynesboro and Stanton are really starting to boom, and we have larger entities that are looking at bringing in a lot more jobs, which then home ownership in residential communities that are being built out. Now you don't have to drive across the mountain or drive 45 minutes away to a job that's actually going to be worthwhile to pay your mortgage. And then whenever commercial activity and residential activity increase the tax base, well, guess what? Your schools have more funds available to do improvements and offer better education and more quality teachers that are involved. Your parks and recreation increases. And then if that's increased and more people are living in the community, then it all becomes better. Then your restaurants, your shops, the hours of operation can open and increase and allow for more accommodations. So really, I love the statistic. 13 years ago when I was getting into real estate, it still is true today. For every 2 homes sold, a job is created because of the amount of people that are involved throughout the whole process, before, during, and after. So really, home ownership not only benefits the family, it benefits the community. The statistics, obviously, everybody's aware of the child education and statistic rates of growth and improvement when a young person knows they're going to bed and waking up in their own place and secure and safe. warm and comfortable, they can be, people can become better educated. And then again, the extracurricular activities and the fundamental features of life that this country was developed for. I'm getting goosebumps. I love the fact that
And
I
the
was
AC's
born
not even
here.
on.
I know, right? Like, gosh, yeah, not even that. I'm just excited.
So Anna, can you play off of that excitement? So why do you think we're because you're kind of new to the business, right?
Right.
So from your perspective, why do you think we're like years and years out? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I like psychology a lot. So
I'm sorry?
I like psychology a
Oh,
lot.
wow,
I went
cool.
to University of Georgia for psychology.
I did not know that.
I know in real estate there's a
Am
lot
I
of
getting analyzed right now?
psychology involved.
Yes.
I am going to make my opinion is that there's that scarcity mindset happening, and it's causing what we're already talking about. Nobody wants to let go of what they have, and they want to hold off to maybe sell it off in the future for way more. So I think that makes the trickle or everything slower, that you're holding on to what you have. So you have that scarcity mindset. So I think I agree with you, it happening between 5 to 10 years, because everyone is like, I don't want to let go of what I have, and maybe in the future I can get.
Well, I was having a conversation yesterday with a buddy of mine that he bought in 2020, new construction, and he has a rate of like low 3%.
There you go.
Right? And he's he's from New York. He's thinking of moving back because his family's there, and he was telling me, Virgil, like, if I sell the home, I have to buy a more expensive house at a higher rate. I could probably rent my house and make some profit out of it.
Correct.
But I'm never going to see this rate again. Like, I do not want to let it go. Like, and especially if he doesn't have to. And I feel like a lot of people are in the same boat. They don't want to let go of that mortgage, that unicorn that you were talking about, Keith. Like, who wants to let go of that unless they absolutely have to?
The other thing that we have been bombarded by social media, and I know for a while it was like flip the house and make money this way, and like buy, and like you would find those deals, and we've completely shifted from that. I was reading something on Bigger Pockets the other day. I forget the term. Maybe you can remind me of the term. Somebody can secure a rental and have an agreement with the owner that they can rent the rental and just make like thousands of it.
So that's like a rent to own, rent to purchase. That when we've talked about this with Jerry and I on the show for years, there's seller financing. That sounds like a little bit like that. So if the seller does not owe anything on it, they can go ahead and do a seller financing. I said this on the show, and I will continue to say it. The 3% mortgage was not a good thing. It was a great thing at the time, but it has really put people in boxes. Jerry and I were discussing this the other day on one of the shows, that I'm sitting at kitchen tables and I'm looking at people across that. They're panicking because they have to move. I don't know what it is. Maybe it might be just the way things are going these days, but we've got a ton of divorces we're dealing with right now, and they have to sell. They have to sell. And now they're in this panic because their
They're
income
going to lose
now
their unicorn.
Well, their income now is split in half, right? In theory, right? And now neither one of them can buy. So as a real estate agent, you're going, I'm getting the listing and I'm potentially getting 2 buys, but that's not where we are right now. We're trying to negotiate. We're trying to navigate the psychology part of it, but one's living on one side of the house and one's living at the other side of the house because they can't move.
Yeah.
And
real.
this is something I've never seen. This 3% and the impact of it in 3.5 decades is putting this market in a different place than we've ever seen before.
Well, some of it too, Keith, you had a great point earlier as well. I was involved with when I was younger, when my mom bought her first home, and going through looking at the interest rates when they were in the teens and low 20s, and that demographic of buyers is only at 11% thereabouts, and the demographic, so people that have owned homes at 18% interest rate look at it and go, yeah, okay, it was 3, but now it's 7, doesn't matter. I bought at 18% back, my first home. the Gen Z and millennials and that, they don't have that. So they do have this scared, timid, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Living in the monthly payment, being able to buy down points and buy down percentage,
That's gonna
lenders
be
are
making-
very creative.
I think that's making a comeback, the buy downs.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And different. Also, look at what your career path is. If you work for a service like a hospital, fire department, police, if you have certain job opportunities, or if you have a career path, you might find a lender that actually offers incentives with lower interest rates, or money down, or assistance to help you get into a home because you want to work where you provide your service. So I think too, again, the scarcity of people wanting to hold on, or looking at, so many people look at, oh, this interest rate, or, oh, I need this number. Why do you really have that in your mind? And then sitting with the people, having a professional realtor sit with you and break down your net sheet if you're selling, break down your income and what your monthly payments really are if you're buying, and make sure that those numbers work, and not just looking at this percentage or looking at this dollar value on a large 30-year scale. That's not what your monthly life is.
Most people buy by the monthly payment than do that. So I want to give you a shout out from the Erpes family. The Erpes family said hey to everybody. It was something I can barely speak English, but he said something in Spanish, whatever hi means, and have a great show in Spanish. That's what he was typing down
Thank
there.
you to the Erpes family.
A great family, and I'll tell you, if you need a financial advisor, they're ours. Reach out to them. They're just wonderful people. But back to Candice's comment, and Virgil, I want to kind of jump in on you a little bit, with, where are you helping your Hispanic buyers look, right? So Augusta County, again, if you pull down Real Talk with Keith Smith in the reports tab, Augusta County single family detached from January 1st to the 31st. This is a year over year, right? Going from 2016 to now. 2016, the value was 100. They were selling homes for 198,000. This first 6 months were 330, but 347 sales happened. Now I take a look at Greene County, pretty much had the same trajectory on value. It's maybe not the same county, but only 111. So that's telling me, is your buyers looking at Augusta? Are they looking at Buckingham? Where are they going to help solve that problem?
They're looking at Augusta, they're looking at Waynesboro, they're looking at Greene, they're looking at Madison. But that's going to shift with the I-10 issue, right? Because they're looking there.
So why is that?
Because it's more affordable, right? So if you have to put 25.
So they're going to go further out, is what you're saying?
Further out, right? Yeah. Because the median, I think the quarter two report put the median price around here around close to $500,000.
Yeah, it depends on the jurisdiction.
Right? But we're around there, right? And if you have to put 25% down for that, that's hard to make happen for anybody, right? So, but because the median sales prices in Greene, Madison, Augusta, Waynesboro, Fluvanna are lower.
Well, to your
it's
point,
a little bit more, they can do that a little bit more. But with the I-10, with what UVA Credit Union has done with this new program, that may start to shift.
That's not an issue for them.
Well, if you only now have to put down 5%,
got it.
Now you can be like, well, I can stay a little closer to Charlottesville, where I work, where my kids want to go to school. Things
so
like
I'll
that.
butcher this, but Stanton or Staunton, depending on what part of the world you're from, median sales price is $250. Augusta County $330. Waynesboro $225. So you're and these are year-to-date numbers. You're at $250 in Staunton or Stanton and Waynesboro. You're at $255. Augusta's up in Lake Monticello. I've learned this from chairing the Piedmont Community Land Trust, and we help people from 80% AMI and down, and we range usually between 60 to 80% AMI. You've got to be at this 225, 215, 250 number to really hit that market. But Virgil, are you saying I'm going further than that now? Am I going further than? And I'm working in Charlottesville. Is that what we're talking about?
Not so much further. They'll stay in there. But with the I-10 program, they want to get closer is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So they can afford more.
Because now they can afford more. And they want to live here. I mean, who doesn't want to live in Albemarle, Charlottesville, where the market is a lot more insulated and protected?
So Greene County, I just ran the numbers this morning, as of today is at 385.
Yeah.
This is single-family detached now, guys.
Right.
No new
Exactly.
new
crazy.
construction.
So one of the things to consider again is when people are renting, we have a high volume and high density rental market. Apartments, attached homes.
But those are going up, Candice.
Well, but
Rents.
however, so if families are renting and their kids are in school in the Charlottesville, Albemarle locations, and they can afford in Greene or Louisa or Orange or Stanton or going elsewhere, well, then the kids don't want to uproot their children from
They
their
don't.
friends and their family. So with this 5% down program, staying in the community and staying in the central area within the school district that the children have already started attending, that's really valuable. So you ask a lot about the pushback that buyers have in proceeding. A lot of it comes down to, well, I've got 3 kids and they already have this established, sports teams and friends and schools, and even though we really want to buy, man, we can't afford anything where we're already living.
I'm going to take it, for the sake of a talk show, I'm kind of going to take a counterpoint here, just throw something out. So as a listing agent, I've got this program we're talking about at 5%, and Candice brings something in. Because we're still in multiple offer world, right?
Sure.
Right? Is everybody in agreement
Yeah.
with
Yes.
that? That has not gone away.
Right.
Yeah.
Certain price points, maybe not so much,
Right.
and maybe certain locations, not so much. But generally, we're kind of in multiple offers. So how we're going to be helping this Hispanic community, how you're going to convince me as the listing agent, I'm looking at 2 exact deals. One's got 20% down and one's got 5% down.
So that's not any different, like working with anybody else.
Yeah.
Right. Than working with somebody that
Or a
has
VA
USDA
loan, right? I'm
or
a
right,
disabled
exactly.
veteran.
That's no
I
different.
hate that when people-
If you get a USDA
Use
loan
that.
or a VA loan or an FHA loan, and it goes against a conventional 20% down, you're gonna lose. Okay. So that doesn't
Oh,
matter.
you're really going to lose.
Well,
I've won.
But in most cases you lose because unless you are willing to offer way more, or you
take
lose
out the home
because
inspection.
the sellers want, or you take out the home inspection, do other things. The sellers want more secure financing and know that somebody, if there's a little bump on the road, that they can afford the issue
Sure.
and move forward. So it's more certain. But by having this new I-10 program, at least during the conversation, just like everybody else. Before, they weren't.
So are we now seeing recently, last couple to 3 weeks, month or so, are we starting to see home inspections work their way out of the market again? Are we starting to
have.
see that?
Yeah.
On that,
I'm
on
seeing
that end?
I'm seeing home inspections go in. I've been
Good.
able to negotiate a couple and
Good.
been able to get credits and look, I don't think it's just being thrown out the window. I'm
Good.
also seeing less cash
Really?
in the competition.
That's
It's not
interesting.
coming up as much, at least in the last month and a half. The offers we've written, I'm not seeing it as much.
Well, I'm going to look up a quick report and see, while you guys are chatting,
Yeah.
to see what the 93 that closed for the last 7 days, how much was cash and how much was that?
Yeah.
I would say too, look at where I'm assuming that the more of the cash is going to be in a higher price point and closer into the city.
Yeah.
Because there's more competition, but
Virgil, I might push back a little bit on
Sure.
that. I'm looking at those 94 transactions, 24 of them were cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm
again,
seeing
what
I'm
price
seeing more
point is that
cash
in?
than less cash.
It's
Okay.
because of the interest rates. And my sister actually was just debating whether to do a loan or cash, and it made more sense to use their cash than.
Well,
to
see,
use a loan.
I'd suggest the opposite,
I
but
know, but
but-
they were making. Well, they're going to use it as a rental.
okay,
And-
got it. It's an
yeah.
investment property.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
one of the things too that was brought up, everybody knows I come from the construction world originally. My life, I had a paintbrush in my diaper. I was, too short to work the saw, so I was standing on buckets and stuff.
You
I
used to
was
work
really-
track hose and skid steers
Oh
and
God,
stuff
yes,
like that.
I love it. Yeah, so one of the things is,
I've seen
talking
it,
about.
actually.
Yeah, I like to, my
I ran
painted
the other
nails
way,
in the
by
crawl
the way.
space.
I ran the other way.
But really, when you're doing a showing, educated realtors, like I know my agents that work on my team, you're getting in the crawl space, you're looking in the attic, but you actually have a wherewithal to understand and identify with the buyer during the showing, hey, these are things that are going to come up. I'm not a professional contractor, I'm not a licensed inspector. We have great inspectors in that, but listing agents doing pre-listing inspections may or may not be a good thing. That's a whole nother ball of worms we can, talk about.
Oh, I love pre-inspections.
Yeah, and but just making sure that your buyer goes in fully protected and knowledgeable with their professional realtor on what to expect with that home. So if it is competitive and they go, you know what, we really love it, but I don't feel comfortable waiving a home inspection, great. We've already been through the home with a person that's knowledgeable to tell you, yes, it appears that on this street there's 5 homes out of the 9 that have radon mitigation systems. This is what it looks like. This is something to be aware of. If you test and it's high, you're going to be responsible for that. The windows need replaced. The windows, roof, heating and cooling systems. Some of the big ticket items, if those are identified before you put an offer together, I always preach to my agents and to my clients to do that. That needs to be done at the listing side
before you get on to kind of understand
where you're going. For the buyers
I'm just
to
shocked
understand.
out of the 24 cash. I thought it was high. I didn't think it was that high. Mm-hmm. So again, that's just a 7-day snapshot on what it looks, and I would love to break it down on what jurisdiction.
Yeah.
My suspicion, most of it's probably like in Albemarle County and some of the higher dollar volumes. But back to your point about and to play off the new construction a little bit. Back to your point on there's hard things to find at certain price points. I'm experiencing, and I'd love to see what you guys are thinking. I'm experiencing people are pivoting to new construction more often. If they're at this $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 range, which is not affordable by any stretch of imagination, meets the affordability check on it. But they're moving to new construction in a huge way. Are you guys seeing that also?
I've had more of a shift.
Oh yeah,
that
for
way.
sure. Yeah.
So how do you navigate that? Because new construction is a different animal from a real estate perspective, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
It's a whole different set of contracts and negotiations. How's that going for you?
Like anything else in real estate, you have to be able to explain to your client what they're getting into before they get into it, and make sure, like Candice said, that they're protected in all ways, that all the inspections are being done accordingly. I'm seeing more of a change that, because also there's no inventory, and so where are they going to go? They want a house, so the ones that are available are the ones that aren't built yet. So maybe that might be the reason as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. And a lot of our clients that have been not in a hurry and that are in that price point, because lower than that, it's really hard to find a good new construction, right? So, they'll definitely go and do that. And then there's clients that don't want to live next to a house that looks exactly like theirs and want to build something on their own, but then they can't find land, right? So
I've got 3 custom home clients I'm working with right now, and the 2 difficult discussions are where am I going to go, which is always the number 1, which is location, and then number 2 is price. I mean, a custom home, you can't find anything that doesn't have a 1 in front of it, and I'm not talking 100,000, right?
Yeah.
These are 7 figures and up, and in a way, I was like, oh man, I should get back in the building business, right? But the cost of constructions are off the charts and all that stuff, and that is a hard conversation to have with somebody who's relocating, right? They're coming from that. We were talking off air. Area median income by HUD for our area is $123,300. Let me repeat that. The area median, sorry about that, Neil, median, I keep on saying medium, but it's the Yankee and I just can't do it. Median sales income is $123,300. Miami, what was it, 90 something? 74,000. That's in Miami.
That's great.
I'm doing a thing in DC in September, and I'm on with all these people from these different really luxury markets, and their just minds are blown that we're 123, and that's where these costs come in, right? This is why this stuff is so expensive on that end of it. But I'm trying to wrap my mind Virgil, right? I mean, we joked about this. Quentin Beck and I was joking about this on the show one time. We're going to coin the term "fly until you qualify." I mean, you know, people going to Harrisonburg, beyond Harrisonburg. I mean, where are you going to help your client at this $250, $350 price point? How are we going to help them?
It's very hard, and a lot. It's you have to either save more money or wait. If you're in that $250, $350 price point and you don't want a condo or a townhouse and you want a
Even
single
that's hard
family
to come by.
yeah. But if you want a single family with a little yard, you're gonna have to go a little further and be very patient until the right thing comes along. And my buyers are just, especially the Hispanic community, they're loyal. If you really help them to them, they'll stay with you and they're loyal to you and they'll wait. And they'll wait. When this ITIN program came out, I called the client for a year and a half ago, and because I always check in with them and I'm always on top of them. And they're excited that they can now afford something a little bit more and their situation is a bit more realistic. And it's just patience right now.
That's true.
I'd love to chime in. It's real talk. You have to be real with your
Look
clients.
at you, huh?
It is. And
Well
you
done.
know what?
Yeah.
It doesn't
I gotta
do
write
us
that
any
down.
good to not be honest and real with our clients and say, you know what? You want A, B, and C, and you can get D, E, and F, but you're going to need to give up something. What is it you're willing? You drive a little further or you have a smaller home?
Right.
What is the value to you?
I'm going to give a shout out to Michael Guthrie. I don't know if he's watching or not because I'm not following the feeds, and I've totally plagiarized this line from him, and I use it regularly. When you sit down at a table and you have these honest, I'd rather disappoint you now
Right.
than disappoint you at some point down the road, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather have this hard, tough kitchen table conversation.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'm working with some Hispanic clients right now that they were getting a little issues getting all their paperwork together.
Sure.
So we spent the last 2 weeks just calling all their people just to get the paperwork that they need, right? And at the end of it, we were kind of finishing up. They were like, "Oof, the hard part's over." And I was like, "No, the hard part is just beginning. We're trying to get you qualified here. And once you're qualified, I'm going to be very realistic with you guys." And this is what I told them. I told them, it's going to get harder. And you're
and
not
as
going to
you go through the process, it's going to get even harder.
Exactly. And to your point, you have to be real with them. And they're going to appreciate that. Who doesn't appreciate when somebody's being honest with them? I'm not trying to, show them things that are not true. Like, it's a hard market for anybody.
Well, you want that relationship established that way now because that's a real relationship, right? And all relationships are structured in honesty, right? And if you're not, and it's not that I'm saying other people are dishonest, but they may not be sharing accurate information. And, omission is also a bit of a sin in my book. But look, guys, we got 5 minutes before we wrap up. I don't know if you guys realize this, but this has been close to an hour and a half at this point talking. So I want to rally back around why we started with NARRAP and how people can help. And we'll just do a quick little round table and let you guys kind of wrap up a little bit. And then we'll get on with our day and try to help people buy and sell and make dreams happen for that one trip around the sun every year.
Do you want to share the event?
Anna, since you are the chairperson, I'm going to let you wrap up. You say whatever you want to say, and we'll move down the line.
Yeah, we have our first virtual event coming up August the 17th. We will be share it with Keith, so you guys can please register and sign up. It is the untapped mega market, and we're talking about Hispanics and homeownership, and all of the things that we have learned and what's coming for Charlottesville and Central Virginia area. Please, again, register, sign up, support us. We have been working hard since we started in 2019. We really just want to continue to grow and get connected to the right partnerships and organizations. So like what we were able to do with Ricardo and UVA Credit Union, get that information out there so there can be an actual change and an actual growth in our community.
Virgil, well done, by the way.
Thank you.
this is a big deal. We're starting something completely new, and we have a unique opportunity to help the Hispanic community and the professionals involved. And I think you would want to be a part of that, because it's going to make a very long-lasting impact for longer than I think we can anticipate, just because it's going to set the foundation for what can be a very beneficial headquarter of resources for everybody. So come join us. Come to the event August 17th, 1 p.m. It's online. It's free. So just put it there. Just listen to what some of our panelists have to say, and come be a part of NARA Central Virginia.
So I love movie quotes and things. Help me help you.
There you go. That's not, stop that. I literally wrote down, help them, help.
Yes.
Stop it.
So advancing sustainable home ownership, NARAP is here to bridge the gap between the tools and the resources for the community that currently doesn't have a voice. Just plug away. It's free. It's live. It's virtual. We have 4 panel members, UVA Credit Union, the Diaz team, Peter, Joe. It's going to be an amazing event. Chime in, register August 17th, 1 p.m. Just come learn about it a little bit. And as sponsors, you get your name blasted. You can blast it to all your clients and everybody. Let's get the word out. Let's promote as much as possible. And again, bridge this gap that's so needed for this massive demographic here in Central Virginia.
Well, first and foremost, we didn't talk about this. I'm on the board.
Yes.
I don't know how I got there, but
We voluntold you.
I'm on the board. It could be some of my volaholic problems that I have on different boards. So I'm honored to be there. I surely feel like I don't deserve it, but I'm honored to be on it and help in any way that I can. So folks, these are outstanding individuals. Go ahead and sponsor them. You know, you can just Google search it. You'll find all this stuff online to help them out. I knew this was going to be fun. I knew this was going to go fast, and it did. You guys are all welcome back anytime that you want to come back on the show. Jerry's going to be back in that seat where Candice is. I miss my buddy dearly, but I'm so glad that he took an opportunity to spend some time with his family, and I hope I didn't screw up things but so bad since he was gone. But we'll be back on Monday with Jerry in the spot. We're going to do a little bit of Batman and Robin and catch up with Jerry and catch up on the market. But everybody have a great weekend, and we will see everybody on Monday. So have a great day, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.